confidence doesn't come down to adding more. It comes down to removing. Confidence doesn't come down to becoming better. Let this land. Do you want to be better? Do you want to be stronger? Do you want to be cooler, more charismatic? Do you want that? The answer should be no. I don't want to become better. I want to be me. I want to realize who I am. And the direction isn't away from you, it is towards you. Let this land. At a most surface level, you could think of communication skills, social skills, right? Say you're about to meet someone in life and it's very important. Now, it could be romantically, it could be business-wise, networking. I'm going to meet this person and they're going to unlock all these opportunities in my life. I better do well. Take that situation. What do most people try to do? They try to enhance themselves. Okay, if I meet this person and he likes me, it's going to open all these doors in my life, all these doors in my career. Better do well, right? Any confidence boosts? Anyone? Any tips? So what do people do? They try to spike their confidence. Let's go! Look at themselves in the mirror. You are the man. You are the man. Deep breaths, affirmations. You got this, you got this, you got this. Let me watch some Julien YouTube videos. Oh yes, I am good enough. Come on. Hey, I'm Julien. How's it going? That's so good. Hey. Yeah, I'm always smiley and happy and dappy. That's just my default state. Yeah, that's what we do. How terrible is that? Ultimately, what am I doing? I'm scamming him. I'm scamming him into portraying myself as someone that I'm not. Portraying myself as feeling something that I'm not feeling. People fall into this trap, especially around social skills. They learn about communication skill advice, and they use these tips and tricks to scam people, to ultimately distract people from who they are. I feel really nervous inside, but I heard these tips from public speakers where if you do these little exercises, it makes you seem more confident. Think of the implication. Wait a minute. So you're using little tips and tricks from public speaking to seem more confident than you are, so you're portraying yourself as someone that you're not, so you're scamming. Right? And that's most people. They use all this to hide authenticity, to distract. Look, here's a cool story. Here's a shiny line. Here's this little gimbal, just anything. Don't look at what's really going on inside. Mirage, facades. Terrible. Now, does that mean don't study communication skills? Of course not. Study it. But instead of being what I call a social scammer, if you want to be a social master, it comes down to not using this to distract people from who you are, but using tips and tricks to highlight who you are. That's the difference. Let it land. You can say something like, here's a cool story, distract who I am, or here's this thing to highlight who I am. And when you truly feel confident within, you actually don't even need those little things to highlight who you are, because you just let it shine. Really let that land, by the way. The example I always use for this is if you go to a restaurant and say you buy some cheap meat. What are they going to do if they want to charge more for the cheap meat? They put a ton of sauce on it because it distracts from the cheapness of the quality of meat. Get it? If you actually buy very expensive meat, there's less sauce. Same with you. The more you need to look at what I accomplished, look at all the money, look at this and look at that. Blah. You're this cheap piece of meat. You're the McDonald's piece of meat. Put some Big Mac sauce on me. Do you like me now? It'll help good with your palate. It's like, screw that. You don't want that. And a good test is, once more, can you actually put yourself out there without compensating, without distracting? Hey, this is me. Take it or leave it. I don't need all the sauce. I don't need all the achievements. I don't need to tell people how successful I am. I don't need to depend on looks, on social standards, etc. I'm just me. And when you own that, you stand out. And if you're always trying to look, It will forever condition you and even program you into forever believing that you are not good enough and you are once more that cheap piece of meat. So the work isn't that. Now, that doesn't mean don't go for that. By all means do. But at a core, your confidence should come from you. And you cannot justify it. Why are you good enough?
Oh my God.
There's only one answer.
Oh, because I am. But I don't believe that. But I know that's the right
Because you
answer.
are?
Because I am.
But why are you?
Because I believe it.
So if you don't believe it, you're not good enough?
No, I guess not.
Why are you good enough?
I'm inherently good because I'm a person.
Okay. Why are you good enough?
I would say because I am. You?
The only correct answer with this, it's because I'm me. Why are you good enough? Because you're you. Why do you deserve to be alive? Because you're you. Just because. There's no reason at all. If there is, then you're not good enough without that reason. And it can be very beneficial to audit your life, yourself, and ask yourself, what are all the requirements I'm trying to live up to? What are all the different ways I'm trying to justify my existence? What are all the different ways I'm trying to prove my worth to humanity, to the world, to God, to existence, to nature, you name it? What are all the different things I'm chasing? Once I have this checked off, then I'm good enough. This checked off, then I'm good enough. Prove myself to my parents, which if you want an audit here to see how much you are selling out for your parents, assuming your parents are still here among you, imagine right now, dark perspective, but let this land. Imagine right now your parents were to both pass away. They're gone. And we fast forward time, past the grieving phase. So it's years in the future. You've grieved, you've moved on, they're no longer here. Who here experiences a sense of relief to some extent? Yeah. Don't be scared. It doesn't mean you want them gone. To be clear, everyone's like, the camera's on it. Tell us who. No, it doesn't mean you want them gone. But for the majority of people, there's a massive sense of relief. Now, of course, there's sadness. They don't want it. But there's still a relief in it, meaning, I won't have to continuously live my life trying to please them, trying to prove that I am a good enough kid, trying to make them proud. And I can just be me. I can take the risks I always wanted to take instead of, playing it safe for their approval. Now, that's just parents. Think of friends. Think of societal expectations, all the requirements. Think of even the self-help requirements. Are any of you good enough if you don't have a morning routine? Let that land, right? We just chase these requirements. Are any of you good enough if you haven't let go? Are you good enough if you don't do any letting go? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Really?
Wait, say the question again. What did you say?
If right now you were to never do any letting go the rest of your life, are you good enough?
Yes.
No, because you're
There's
not
no
you.
requirements.
No, because you're not you. Yeah, but
I'm
at the
good
same time,
enough.
it's a fucking paradox.
She was correct.
I'm good enough. I don't need any. I don't need to do
Even if you don't let go, you're good enough.
more.
Yes. Just 'cause. In a way, letting go is realizing this more and more. In a way, letting go is letting go of those requirements and moving towards you. And ultimately, the goal of this work is you are the goal. This is the goal. Let it land. We always want to be different and more and better and more successful versus, no, this is the goal. The perspective I always give my clients is imagine you were born in a society where you were the ideal. Let that land. You were the ideal. So say you feel a little anxious. Everyone's trying to be anxious. Really, let it land. Would you feel better about being anxious if that was the case? Yes. What if the goal was to not feel good enough? Would you feel better about not feeling good enough? For real, let it land. You're like, I just don't feel like I'm good enough. Say everyone's like, how do you do it? Tell us your secret method. I just feel too worthy. I want to feel less worthy. And from the moment you're born, that's the conditioning. And there's courses on how to not feel good enough. You'd feel great. Really? Did you get it?
I was reading it and I came in and I missed part of it.
Say, do you feel anxious right now? How do you feel right now?
Pretty good. Enjoying this. And I really like the question, like the one where you said, imagine you live in a society where you like ideal. So,
Bingo. Thank you. Yeah. So no, I was like, oh, did he get it? No, the point was the ideal, meaning even if, say, you don't feel good enough, that's still the ideal. If nothing's figured out in your life, is that still the ideal?
Yes.
Yes. If you have no money, is that still the ideal?
Yes.
If you have money, is it the ideal?
Yes.
Yes. Make you the ideal. Ultimately, this is a more advanced shift that happens when you start letting go, is you feel more and more like it's okay to be you. That's it. And you realize too how much of your motivation comes from it's not okay to be me. It's not okay to be me, but if I was able to channel this towards doing good for the world, maybe I'll reach a point where it's okay to be me because I did enough good. But then what are you doing? You're trying to justify your existence. You're compensating. And ultimately, what do all of us want? Someone to say that. Someone to look you in the eye and fucking mean it and say, hey, it's okay to be you. Regardless of how you feel and where you are in life. Really, let it land. Like, that's what we want. We think again, I have 2 daughters, and parenting, oh my God, shoves this in my face like crazy. But we all think we're so different, right? I'm an adult, look at me now. No, you're still a kid. And ultimately, what does every single kid want? To be acknowledged, to be heard, to be seen, and someone to validate their experience and validate their reality. Think of the last time someone even screwed you over or did you harm. What did you really want? Was it really revenge? No. You wanted that person to know how they made you feel. That's it. You're like, see how you hurt me. And for them to not just kind of see it, but to really get it. That's what we all want. Someone to validate us. Now, when you're younger, assuming you're growing up in a healthy household, you get that from your parents. But regardless of whether you got it or not, the only person who can really give that to you is who?
Yourself.
Me. And that's why you should sign up for my course. No, for a small fee. No. You're the only person who can. And that's the thing. We always wait externally. Will someone finally see it and tell me? You have to do it. For real. I remember even chasing that when I was younger, and I started first working on myself and coaching. This is 2010 when I first started coaching. And I would post like videos online and pictures on my Facebook, and I always thought like, oh, when kids from high school finally see me now, right? Like the shy, anxious kid on stage. My life's gonna change, and they'll finally see that I'm good enough. They'll finally see that they were wrong when they thought I was a loser, when they didn't want to be friends with me. They'll see that I was worthy, which is what we're all chasing. Now, none of them saw, because everyone, that's the other thing, we play these mental games, like thinking people are so obsessed with who we are. No, they don't care about me. The people you're trying to prove wrong don't care about you. They probably forgot about you. So what I said at the beginning of this event is, anyone even still remember Zach? You're like, oh yeah, that guy came up front. No, we forget. We're just like ADD. You'll forget the majority of this event. You'll even see maybe some YouTube snippets come out and you're like, oh yeah. It'll feel like you're watching a completely new event. So one, no one cares. But even if they were, like say the high school kid's like, Julien, they give me that heart-to-heart speech, right, Julien? I just want to say, maybe I wasn't the nicest and kindest to you in high school. Maybe we should have accepted you as part of the cool kids. But after seeing that Facebook post, of you in front of a crowd. I was wrong. You are enough. Say that were to happen, would it fulfill me, yes or no?
No.
No, because it's not from me. It's artificial. We think if enough people love me, I'll finally love myself. No, you won't. You will not. If we go back to Zach, can you, say you were to buy, back to the porn, right? Yeah. If you were to buy one of those, like, was it fleshlights? Can you impregnate it? Yes or no? Yeah. No, you cannot. Someone's like, well, challenge accepted. You cannot. It's artificial. It's different. The same with that self-approval, that self-love. You can't delegate that to the external. Sure, it's great. Like, all of you can be like, Julien, you're so great. I'm like, oh, thanks. That's like fucking the fleshlight. It won't fulfill. It won't make you feel, it won't change anything within. It has to come from within. Ultimately, it's you having to confront yourself and come to terms with it and say, hey, why is it that, like, when did we stop feeling good enough? And why did we do this to ourselves? What are the lies that we bought into, the experiences that condition this? And let's let go of it. And that's self-love. It's not something that you do, by the way. Self-love is the removal of self-hate. That's it. If you need to do self-love, what does it mean? That at a core, you don't love yourself. The more you need to do self-love, like, let me practice my affirmations, the more it's communicating you don't love yourself without the affirmations. Same thing as we talked about before. Why are you good enough? Just because. I'm good enough because I do my affirmations. Well, then you're not good enough if you don't do them. So it's really this reclaiming. It's no. I was born whole. I was born worthy. Through the process of socialization, conditioning, I lost touch with that. Things were programmed into me. At a time where I was even too young, I had a limited perception. I believed things that maybe weren't that true. And I never stopped to examine the validity of those beliefs. And I've let them run me well into my adult life. And now's the time where I need to stop, bring those core beliefs up to the surface, analyze what's going on inside, doing this deep audit, and I must learn how to let go of this. Let go of what doesn't serve me. And it's all done from the inside out. And when you do, everything changes. It really does. And people feel it. If you even think communication skills, I call these the 4 layers of communication. At the surface, there's what you say, right? And that's what usually people are obsessed with. If I want to be interesting talking to someone, it's in what I say. It's not that important. Layer number 2 is how you say it. Now that's much more important than what you say. How you say it, the tonality, right? Is it going up at the end or down, as an example. 3rd layer is your intention behind it. And this is sub-communicated. And the 4th layer is your overall level of self-esteem, how you feel about yourself. The deeper you go, the more powerful. So someone at surface is, what do I say? What do I say? Give me the interesting thing to say. Someone who's more in touch with advanced communication skills is, it doesn't matter what I say, how do I feel about myself? And when you feel good about yourself, you could talk about anything, literally anything. I could talk about the floor and people would be interested. Like, think about it. The fact that even right here, you can peek in, but there is this huge scratch mark, right? You see it? And it kind of trails off here. Now, I asked the guy before, like, well, what created this scratch mark? Why are you still listening? Let that land. Why are you listening to me talk about the floor? What?
You made it interesting.
Yeah. Because that's the thing. It's not about what I say. Now, of course, you can take that to an extreme. Like, yeah, it still has to make some sense. But what's more powerful is how I say it. Even this speech here, what if I were to say all the right things logically, but in terms of how I said it, it was very doubtful. Like, okay, everyone, welcome to the seminar. Confidence has to do with what you, more to do with what you remove than what you add. Zach, scream as loud as you can. Very different. Saying the same things. I could be saying the correct things. If in the way I'm saying it, it's off, you're not going to lock in. Interesting. Now, I could say the right things and say it confidently, but what if the intention isn't offering value? I'm like, okay, everyone, so to be confident has more to do with what you remove than what you add, okay? Okay? Weird. Then it's over try hard. So there's all these things, yeah, that play into it. Now, funny enough, the intention, which as we said, like the even force, or I link it to Star Wars, is you can do a few exercises for this. If you want to tap into how you say it, practice talking about boring topics, but make it interesting. Not in the words, but in how you say it, like the floor. But that's the thing, you can't make it interesting with the words. So you could be like, this morning, I woke up and I got out of bed. And build this story. So content, boring, interesting in the vibe. You can also do this in front of the mirror and look at your range of expression. This is big. Okay, so for example, you stand up. You don't have to come in front, but stand up and give us your angriest face. You find out some news that pisses you off. Angry face, go. Whatever, the most angry, go. You can't talk or scream, you just have to give us the facial expression of anger.
Well, I'm really...
No talking, just facial expression. So silent but angry. Okay, happy, excited. Give her a hand. You. Yes. Stand up. Same thing. I want anger first, but no talking, just facial expression. Happy. Shy. Excited. Silly. Give her a hand. Have a seat. Good job. One more. You. Stand up. Angry. Happy. Silly. Sad. Good job. Give him a hand, everybody. Now, an exercise like this, which sounds so simple, right? It's like you just do the face. Practice it in front of the mirror and see how wide your range is. And you'll see that if you're someone who's quite stifled in that sense, it'll look pretty much the same. Now, all three of you did great, by the way. Massive respect. But I've seen a lot of people where it's like happy and it's like angry. It just looks the same versus like really accentuate it. Again, the less Botox you have, the better. A lot of people, for real, a lot of people have like stifled, self-imposed Botox where they can't move. It's like loosen it up. Look in front of the mirror, loosen it up. That's layer 2, how you say it. So much of my communication, even during these speeches, is facial expressions, tonality, talking fast, talking slow, accents, whispers, funny, serious. Enough! Woo! Ha! Woo! That surprised me. Oh. Spit. It's range. Now, you want to get in touch with layer 3, how you say, like your intention behind it. Instead of in the mirror doing facial expressions, this is where the challenge is. You look in the mirror and you ask yourself, how do I communicate XYZ without talking and without facial expressions? So right now, you, because I saw the confusion, you're like, what does he mean by this?
Yes.
Communicate to me. So you're not allowed to talk and you're not allowed to move your face. Communicate to me that you're mad and you can't move your eyes. Mad. Okay, you get a feel for that? It's very Star Wars-y, like the Force. Like, you are mad. These are not the droids you are looking for. That's the intention. Again, it's pre-verbal, but it matters. So ideally, you have layer 4, how you feel about yourself, high self-esteem, through letting go. Intention when you're talking to someone, it could be offering value or assuming things like good vibes, offering value. Then there's the range in terms of how you say it, and then there's what you say, what doesn't matter as much. Once you're on top of that and you get it, your communication skills skyrocket.